All right, guys. As you know, we've had a pretty massive update with Sonus, and I wanted to go through at least some of the major highlights to help you guys understand what some of these updates are, how it applies to you. I've already had a lot of different phone calls and emails back saying, "Well, where did this go, and what does this do?" and all of that. So I'm just going to do a fairly quick video to let you know what's going on. And without further ado, we'll just get started. So we'll just go tab by tab. And so with the first tab, the digital patient view, there's three major things to go over. The shoulder rotation right here at the A to P. Sometimes you would notice a plus symbol after that X1 or X4, whatever. We took out the plus because it was confusing. Because we really just say, hey, you know what, this is um, a greater than or less than symbol, and have that be more of the standard versus having it to where there's this random plus symbol. So took that one out because it was kind of confusing. The other one is people didn't like the difficulty showing that it was struggling. So we changed that from struggling and switched it to say very hard. That way you know if you're showing this to a patient, they're like, "Whoa, wait, why is it saying struggling?" Okay, well that's gone now. It won't say struggling anymore. The next one is actually in this section right here. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom up so you can see that a little clearer. So in this section right here, you're going to notice that there's three different areas where it's having this highlighting. The highlighting is called conditional formatting in Excel. So if I say highlighting or conditional formatting, it's the same thing. So the conditional formatting for these two have not changed. So what we have noticed through just collecting all the stats and going through them is that if any of these are less than 1 degree, we have a very hard time controlling that particular um, misalignment. So that way it highlights there just so you know, hey, be extra cautious with this particular case. Then if you see a highlight in this column, it's just saying that these are atypicals for the particular pattern that this patient has. So usually this, for contra, it should be anterior instead of posterior for the atlas, and that's why it's highlighting like that. Then, more importantly, is now this one in this column. This is new, and what this means is actually that if it highlights that you are doing worse than the rest of the community, which is important because now you know, like, hey, I need to really focus on what are my table positionings that will affect those factors, and again, just it slows you down a little bit more so you can pay attention and actually focus on the patient, so you can get a better reduction. So just be aware of that. Highlights here, slow down, really focus, use your brains, and you'll do just fine. That's it for the digital tab. So I'm going to go ahead and skip this one. If you did notice, some people had like a older Sonus that didn't have this. So it does now show the doctor who did the first adjustment here, and then also shows what dates were the X-rays taken. That way, yeah, you just if it's been past 3 years or so, it might be time to update those X-rays. And it also shows how old the patient is right here. All right, awesome. So now we're going to go to the next tab. So the patient info tab. This one, there's a lot. There's an absolute ton. One of the first things that you're going to see is you have this whole new header up here that is potentially confusing for people. And I wish I could have like, you know, a way to let you know what these do on Excel, but unfortunately, it's Excel. That's just what we have to deal with. So if you click on it, you're going to notice a few things. It will automatically open up a whole section. So if you want to think of this as like a big file folder, uh, this is a folder, this is a folder, this is a folder, this is a folder, And if I want to see what's inside that, I just click this plus button. And you can see right here it says click the plus above, click the plus above, click, just clicking all that above. I'm going to go and zoom in so you can see this a little bit easier. Um, so click that plus button above, and this will open up all the exam. This will open up all the subjective. This will open up all the extra findings, all the pre. So if I come straight up here, click this button, this is now all the information in the pre that you're used to seeing. Okay, so here's the start, the date, and going all the way across. No big deal. However, you also have this extra pre, and you're like, whoa, wait, why is this extra? Well, if you click that, you're going to see your reference points. And not everyone was filling out reference points. And they're like, I don't care. I don't want to fill out the aberrancies. I don't want to do the reference points. So can I just hide it? Well, instead of hiding it, I now have it to where it's a grouping, so you can automatically hide it like this as needed or as wanted. So preferably you fill out everything. That's what everyone should be doing. But that's not what everyone is doing. So I'm not going to force you to change your habits. That's fine. You guys do what you want to do. But at least now you are aware that it exists instead of just hiding it and forgetting it. Now you'll see this plus symbol to remind you. So the other thing with the groupings, we'll zoom back over here again, is you have this 1, 2, and 3. So you'll notice that these plus symbols are along the same row as this 1. So if I click 1, it will collapse everything. If I click on the 2, it's going to highlight or open up all of the major ones that should be filled out, right? So you got the subjective. As you scroll over with the subjective, you'll see that it's exactly how it was before, all the way up until these two new sections where you have extra PI codes, which we'll go over, and oats right here, which we'll also go over. If you wanted to open those up again, you can just click on those plus symbols. Then same thing over here. It automatically open up the exam form. Coming over here, automatically open up the X-ray findings. Okay. Now, if you press the 3 button, you'll notice that it opens up the second tier down, or third tier down, I guess. And so now everything is opened up, right? So this is, if you wanted to fill out everything in Sonus, then this is how long it goes. I mean, it's a long sucker. Okay. So look, quick ways to just collapse it all or to expand it real fast. It is really nice. I like this because there's times where for some reason we didn't do the X-ray analysis beforehand, before the patient comes in. They're here, they're ready for their rough, and you're like, oh shoot, I did not fill it all out. So instead of filling out the subjective and the exam and all the X-ray findings, we can just do the bare basics. And so we just click on the plus here and fill out the pre, so we can see the patient right away. Okay, so that should give you a little bit better indicator of what these groupings are. Is these 1, 2, and 3, and then these plus symbols or minus symbols. If you did want to see all the formulas, you can. Here's all the crazy formulas in here. It's a lot. It's overwhelming. It's crazy. I would highly suggest not opening this up, but it's there in case you want to. So, all right. Let's see. Now I did have this page unlocked, so if you really, really want to hide something, you can. You can highlight it, right click on it, and click on the hide button. But highly suggest not to do that. It's just preferred to just keep it open like this. Okay. Let's go over the ICD-10. So there was an update recently with ICD-10 codes, and so we have updated those codes so that when you do mark the headache codes or the migraine codes, and also the low back ones, it's now updated. So just so that you are aware, I believe now I wish Dr. Miranda was here because he would totally correct me on these. But I believe with the low back now, it's you can do it right and left. You know, don't quote me on that one. I'll have to look that one back up again. But they are updated where they're supposed to be. Scrolling over, we're going to go more into the new sections. There you go. This is some of the newer um, IC10s, but also more PI type stuff. So you have other lumbar codes. So lumbar with, or lumbalgia with sciatic, lumbalgia unspecified, versus now you have these sprain strings that they want us to use versus the PI codes that we used to use. That was at the beginning of this section. That it was like, did you have a sprain strain between occiput and C1 or C1 and C2? Now they want us to use these codes here. So you'd have to say, was it a sprain or a strain, and in which section. The other ones would be was without unconscious or with unconscious, as far as the concussions are going on, post-concussion syndrome. So all those new codes slash mainly PI type stuff would be in this section here. And if you don't want to deal with those, click that minus button. Never have to see that again. All right, that goes to the next area, which are the oats. So there's going to be lots of different oats that we're looking at, but right now the main one is the SF36. You can access this on lots of different websites. What we're planning on doing is have it to where the patient just accesses an iPad, fills out the questionnaire. The questionnaire then automatically spits out the values for the SF36, and you would input it in for the pre, and then, as you see, as it comes back over, let's go ahead. And then you would just do it for the post, right? So, anyways, we'll be getting there with that one. That's going to be another big update. So for now, you can just keep that closed unless you're already doing oats. Until we start training people better on how to do that, you can just let that be there. Just because there's lots of different oats that we want to dive into. So we'll probably have another grouping number 4 because there's just going to be so many oats that we can have fun with because we all love oats. It's great. Okay, so that's it for the subjective section. So I'm going to close that down, and now I'm going to open up the exam area. There's only 2 big changes here. You'll see that it says better in these 2 columns, this one and this one. What this is saying is that you did the supine leg check, and when you turn the head, that with rotation, turn your head to the right. Did that improve? Did it get 100%, or did it not change at all? Right. So it's just going to be a yes, no. Did it get better, or did it get worse, or no change at all? It would just be yes or no. Same thing with the low back tone. Did it get better or worse turning the head? And that way we can start to track, are we actually seeing that change throughout the whole body, or is it only part of the body? Most people see it affects both really, really well. But just in case it doesn't, maybe it's a fun case to look into. So that's the only thing there. Let's see. Nothing else for the exam. All right, let's go ahead and go to the X-ray findings. X-ray findings, nothing new here. This is all the same. So that's all fine there. I'm going to close that back down. So let's go to the pre. There are a couple updates here. I'm going to go ahead and it's in this section in here. So the reference points, I changed it to include the 1, 2, 3, 4. Still have the SLM or the acronyms for each of these reference points, but we found it a lot easier to train CAs to fill this out when we just have it labeled as 1, 2, 3, and 4 as far as which reference point are we using. Okay. Next, aberrancies. So there were three aberrancies that we were marking down. It included the two zoning. We don't do zoning anymore because of the really good tool that we have now. It's two zone is outdated, so we just took it out. Not many people were marking it anyways, so that's gone. Not not going to be happening anymore. And that is it there for the pre. So I'm going to close down the pre. Post. There's nothing visually new with the post, but there is a massive, massive thing that Dr. Miranda found when it comes to your post HAC. Okay, so there's I'm gonna get a little geeky for you on this one. What can happen is that the CFAC can flip sides from a pre to a post. And by doing so, it can make it to where the HAC would look really, really bad sometimes, and it gets kind of confusing as far as the math is concerned. This is not boot camp. I'm not going to try and explain it to you guys how this actually happens. But needless to say, what is absolutely critical is that when you're doing your post X-ray analysis, that you're not putting back in the chondral aberrancy or the let's see frontal cranium aberrancy value into those calculations boxes for the post. Reason being is because that can flip your HAC depending on what happens with your CFAC. All right, that was a lot, but you guys probably followed that. Long story short, whatever is in the post calculations frontal box, keep that in there. Don't alter it based on the cranium aberrancy. Um, and so Sonus will actually automatically assume that you're using the values that are being populated from the software, the Opal software. Um, and that's and it'll be good. If you have any questions about that, talk to me, and I'll go deeper on that one. But just for the purposes of this video, I just wanted to let at least people know that's the standard. Okay, leave the post HAC alone. Do it exactly how it's shown in Opal. Don't put the uh, FCAB into your post analysis um, on an Opal, or else that could potentially flip your HAC. Okay. All right. Calculations for stats. So in this huge, massive section, I've cleaned it up a ton, but also made it prepped for statistics. So Dr. Miranda is the statistics guru. He probably will hate that I even said that because he's very humble about what he knows, but he's a genius. It's great. So we now have it to where things are automated in here. You don't have to know all this. This is just so much stuff. But one of the things is like, hey, we've got to air check all of these different blanks. But what's cool is here's that HAC override. Whew, man, all the stuff that we have to do to fix any potential errors is fascinating. Um, yeah, data scrub or crunching for stats tab or patients reference tab. There's just gobs of really good stuff. But for Dr. Miranda's section, it's right here. Dun, 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 dun. So vector reduction for David's stats. So he has a certain way of looking at the reduction for the statistics, and now it's all here. That way, all we have to do is just do this big, massive data dump, and he can just crunch numbers right away instead of having to clean it up first. And it's just it was a mess. So making it to where we can get that data uh, to the board and also just to any statistician to crunch what the heck are we looking at? Like what when we're doing the research, what does this mean? And it's ready to go. Whereas before, it would take hours. Gosh, it's hours to kind of clean up the data and making sure we're doing the math correct. It was a mess. So it's now done. It's great. It's wonderful. All right, the last one. Let's go ahead and close all these up again. All right, last one is actually you're going to see down here. There's multiple stats tabs now. So what happened is that the stats page was massively long. It was super crazy long. So I've broken it down. You'll see now that the groupings are on the left hand side because it's about all the rows. And so same thing. If you wanted to see all of them, just press that. Oh, it's protected. No, I have to do this. Open it up for you guys. So unprotect this real quick so you can see. Oh, there we go. Unprotect. Okay, there we go. So I'll fix that for all of you guys. Um, but yeah, you can press the 3 button, the 2 button, or the 1 button, and it automatically opens up each of these different sections. And there's your normal stats area, right? Here's what's great is that um, the reason why I broke it down is that these general stats, this is like this is fun, cute stuff, right? It's not like massively important, except for I'd say the post X-ray, because you don't want to have a lot of days in between your pre and post. And are you actually inputting all your post X-rays or are you not? That's kind of important. But otherwise, it's pretty basic stuff. You know, how is the axial circle compared to everyone else? How does the condylar circle compare with everyone else? So it's good information, but not earth shattering. Like, wow, I'm so glad that I have that. Versus your performance stats. So in here, this is where it was at the bottom of the stats page. Now you can really dive in and be like, okay, how do I compare with everyone else? And here's all my numbers, a little easier to get to instead of scrolling all the way down on that stats page. So uh, that's it for that one, and I think that is it. Yeah, that is it. So, anyways, if you guys have any questions about this new update to Sonus, please let me know. You can email me, text me, call me, send me some smoke signals. I don't care. Either way, whatever you want to do. I'm doing this to help you guys out and help me out and help out everyone out and the whole chiropractic community because this is just freaking fun. I absolutely love it. So, um, thank you guys for supporting me and this whole fun endeavor and super appreciate all your guys' input because it just makes it so much better. So thank you so much for all you do, and if you have any other suggestions, please let me know.